Jack Flaherty looked great in his return on Monday. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Tuesday, September 6th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's take a look at Jack Flaherty's return. It was a successful one up against the Nationals. He went 5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts with 14 swinging strikes. And best of all, Scott, was the velocity being up.
Yeah, it was up nearly 2 miles per hour from where we saw it when Flaherty first returned from that shoulder injury back in June. 3 ugly starts. Velocity was down. They sent him back on the IL for a couple more months. Looked much better in the buildup for this return from the IL, and we see that wasn't a mirage. Now, he was facing the Nationals. It is worth pointing that out, but the results were great. 1 run in 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, 14 swinging strikes on 91 pitches is a great rate, of course. Flaherty's next matchup is against the Pirates, right?
Yep.
Really good matchup. So if you're in a daily lineup league, hopefully you started him for the 2-star week, but if you didn't, you're in a daily lineup league, let's say, you're going to want to get Flaherty active for that matchup against the Pirates.
All right, let's jump into some waiver wire pitchers. These are, for those who play in shallower leagues, pitchers rostered between 60 and 75% over on CBS. Ross Stripling was at the Pirates this weekend. He went 6 innings with allowing 3 runs with 8 strikeouts. Alex Cobb looked great against the Phillies. He went 7 shutout with 7 strikeouts. Marcus Stroman was at the Cardinals. He went 7 shutout with 5 strikeouts. And then Nick Lodolo was awesome against the Rockies. He went 6 shutout with 9 strikeouts in that one. Scott, who do you prefer most from this group? Lodolo, Stroman, Cobb, Stripling?
I think we're at a point in the season here, September, where it makes sense to look ahead to a pitcher's remaining matchup, how he lines up for the rest of the season. You don't want to do that too early because it doesn't take much to throw it all off. But I think it's appropriate now. And Nick Lodolo's matchups are the most favorable for this group. He gets the Brewers twice. Brewers are especially bad against left-handed pitchers. He gets the Pirates. He gets the Cubs. His toughest matchup is probably against the Red Sox, but that's not saying a lot. And Nick Lodolo himself has been pretty reliable of late. So over his past, let me see if I can find, past 8 starts, Nick Lodolo has a 2.89 ERA, 1.14 whip, 10.2 K per 9. Really beginning to come into his own. So he's my favorite. Alex Cobb's matchups are pretty tough. Dodgers, Braves, Dodgers are his next 3 starts. Don't like that. I do like him, though. Since coming back from the IL, he's basically been everything we wanted him to be. So he would be my second choice here. And then rounding out the list, Ross Stripling and Marcus Stroman.
Would you drop Reid Detmers for any of those, Scott? He has slowed down recently. He's got a 5.14 ERA over his last 3 starts.
And he's only taken every 6th turn instead of every 5th turn, like most pitchers.
And he's at the Astros this week.
Yeah. There's a good chance he bounces back. The slider is still harder than it was before that stint in the IL, and that's been the key to his success. But I do think I would be willing to drop Detmers for either the top 2 on that list, Nick Lodolo or Alex Cobb.
All right, let's take a look at some pitching prospects who made their debuts this weekend. Hunter Brown looked great against the Texas Rangers. He went 6 shutout with 5 strikeouts, and he's 33% rostered. Ryne Nelson was called up by the Diamondbacks. He made his debut on Monday at the Padres. He went 7 shutout with 7 strikeouts in that one. He's only 4% rostered. And then Cody Morris started for the Guardians on Friday. He only went 2 innings. He allowed 3 runs with 3 strikeouts, but he is a pretty decent prospect for the Guardians as well, Scott. What do you think about those 3, Morris, Ryne Nelson, and Hunter Brown?
I'm not optimistic about any of them making a big fantasy impact down the stretch here. Hunter Brown is the most interesting prospect, and if he throws strikes like he did in this first start against the Rangers, watch out. Only 1 walk. He threw 71% of his pitches for strikes, and control's supposed to be the knock on Hunter Brown. Stuff-wise, he rates very well, high ceiling prospect. But the control does give him kind of a high or kind of a low floor too. But it didn't show up in this start. I just think like to keep him in the rotation now, the Astros have to go 6-man, and then Verlander's going to be back at some point. So I think Hunter Brown's going to be used more in relief down the stretch. Ryne Nelson, it was an impressive debut. He was a top 100 prospect for Baseball America coming into the year, but an ERA over 5 at AAA, and the strikeout rate was down quite a bit from a year ago. So Ryne Nelson has a lot to prove. I think if you have promotion fever right now, you're better off targeting a couple of the hitters that were called up this weekend. That would be Tristan Casas, Red Sox first baseman, really strong hitting profile, and is expected to play every day down the stretch. And also Spencer Steer for the Reds, who had a great debut Friday, homered, walked twice, hit a double, and should play a lot down the stretch too, moving all around the infield.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.